Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here with another catch-up talks with One Angry Pagan. Pagan, how are you doing, bro?
I'm not too bad, not too bad. I've gone from the very south of the country to slightly north on the other side of Devon. So I'm in North Devon at the moment, and
You're
we
in
get
North
weather
Devon at the moment.
straight off the Irish Sea on the north coast of Devon. So it's
Yeah,
been pretty stormy.
you've been feeling a lot of the wind lately, so I think it's fair to say out there then, yeah? Yeah,
Oh yeah.
pretty much. Yeah. So, guys, we're going to talk about a couple of stories today. We'll talk a little bit about the assistant dying, talk about the full representation, and then we're going to talk a bit about some of the elections as well, because there's been so many this year as well. It's been a crazy year of elections, and then we'll also talk about sea level rises, because that's a really important subject, and we'll have a look at this map generator that One Angry Pagan is providing us. I'll share with you guys momentarily as well. Just for those who are here in the chat at the moment, Jow, good to see you there, buddy. Stephen Banker, Alistair Keir. Good morning, Steve McMorn, and anybody else who may be lurking in the chat. Just here on YouTube, guys, because whenever I stream for StreamYard, it can only be from one. So unless somebody wants to pay me to use Pro StreamYard, then you're more than welcome to. But I wouldn't. It's not really worth it if I'm honest, guys. Okay, folks. First and foremost, this what happened in France here. So so I'm just gonna pull. Let me see if I can pull this shared screen up for us.
Crazy.
It is a bit here. So this is literally just this is live now. Emmanuel Macron vows to stay on as French president and will name a new prime minister within days. French president said he intends to stay on until his term ends in 2027 in a televised address to the nation. So this was literally 43 minutes ago. As noted earlier in his blog, the political turmoil has led some to call for Macron's resignation. In his 10-minute speech on Thursday today, Macron left little doubt that he intends to stay on the president. The mandate is that you've given me at least 5 years, and I will exercise it until the very end, he says. What do you make of this situation then?
He's a fucking centrist, liberal, neoliberal moron. I don't know what it is with the neoliberals, and it's the same with the Democrats in America, leaving the door open for fascists. The left helped him and his party and his ensemble coalition stay in power, and yet what did he do as soon as the election was over? He stabbed the left in the back. This is all Macron's own fault. And if Le Pen wins the next election, it's his fault, because he decided to stick the knife in the back of the left.
Macron did not name a new prime minister, saying so it would do in the coming days. He said he would not be held responsible for the chaos that has engulfed the country, noting, I won't shoulder other people's irresponsibility. You're the president. It's kind of hard for you not to shoulder some of the responsibility when you are literally the president of the country. That's
like,
pretty...
You're the one making these fucking idiot decisions. You're making these idiot decisions. What like again, you're the one. He decided to call the stupid fucking snap election. I just, and then
it backfired badly, that snap election, didn't it?
Yeah. Again, like, I reiterate, the left helped. If it wasn't for the left, Le Pen's party would have won that, because they won the first round, didn't they? And if it wasn't for the left and some of the more left-leaning liberals in Macron's party, because they went against Macron to work with the left.
Yeah,
Macron,
the left and the right ousted the left and the right, wasn't it, in their budget? Is that right?
Yeah, but there's a lot of talk at the moment saying that there was an alliance between them. No. They just, like, they're both doing it for two separate reasons.
Yeah,
like, they're not like the left and the far right. There's a lot of characterization at the moment from the liberal centrists, especially in the news media, trying to say, oh, the far left and the far right have joined together. No, I have to put that to bed right fucking now. That's not what's happening. What's happened here is that Le Pen is partly being opportunistic and partly being desperate because she's also got this court case happening.
Yeah, that's on her shoulders as well.
Which might ban her from running. So she's trying to get. She's now in a desperate position. So I think with Le Pen, you've got opportunism and desperation. The left are just pissed that they got stabbed in the back. They like the left won the most votes out of all three parties. They got the most votes, and yet like, and despite that, they're like, no. Macron's like, no, you're not gonna. We're never having a left prime minister under me. And it's like, all right then. Like, Vorsch said on his stream that he's basically now saying that Macron and his lot are as bad as the Vichy government in the World War II when the Nazis took over France. And I have to say, I agree. Macron and his party are fucking collaborators because they are leaving the door wide open for Le Pen if she somehow manages to dodge this court case.
Yes, well, that's if she dodges the court case. Obviously, yeah, we'll have to hope the court case saves France's grace. But you know,
Macron,
it's that
I'm so pissed at Macron. It's unreal.
Yeah, it's not a very good time for France right now. This is really bad.
Angry Badger is furious.
I'm sure the Angry Badger is furious. Yeah. The French overreactors always reminds me of my family reunions when I was a kid, says Jao. Well, I mean, a lot of people, like, after the vote, like, a lot of people said this was expected. So I obviously, like, I don't know French politics in and out, but I see enough to know that it's not a very good situation. But we know that a lot of European countries are not in a very good situations right now because a lot of people are not having trouble countering the rhetoric. You know, the immigration rhetoric is getting to people. It's working on people. It's appealing to people. It's a big problem. And it's working here and it's working in France. Like literally today, the media were literally asking questions on Keir Starmer's speech about bloody migration and immigration, despite the fact that he's already sent over 9,000. Is it 9,000 so far since
he's already done more than the Tories did in 4 years.
Yeah, he's already done more than the Tories. But you know, they're still looking. I don't know if you saw Max's latest video, but he was basically saying, why are they asking for a roundup number of why do they need a roundup number of?
Because they want us to think that. I think there are a lot of people in your chat who already say that Labour are just the same as the Tories, and I'm sorry, but that, like, there's like
agree to disagree.
Whilst Labour aren't perfect, there have been major differences already in the way Labour want to do things and the things that they want to bring in, barring the winter fuel and stuff. You've got the raising the minimum wage. You've got the workers' protections. I mean, there's arguments against that, but every time there's a push for workers' protections, there's always arguments from the business. I'm sorry, but like every single time.
I will just say, obviously, like, because I don't want, like, the thing is about, for me, it's immigration is an issue because the media make it an issue. They keep highlighting it as an issue, and the problem is that it becomes the topic, and this is where we need media reform more
Not just
than
that,
ever.
but the left. I think the left is missing the narrative. The right have a solid narrative. It's bullshit. It's complete fucking hogwash, but they have a solid narrative. And it's not just here, it's in Europe, it's in it's in America and Canada. This anti-migrant push from the right has narrative. They've got a narrative for it. The left needs to get a more unified narrative ourselves. And the problem is we keep coming at it from too many different angles. Like all of the angles are correct that the left comes at it from, but unfortunately, we're coming at it from so many different angles. Like we're saying how many reasons, all of these different reasons, when we should just come up with 1 or 2 or 3 palliative reasons as to why migration is good, or how we can accommodate migrants without making it bad on us and actually benefiting us. Yeah.
Well, but even with all those positive messages that we've put out, and I'm sure that myself and others have pointed this out on numerous occasions, they will still they will still keep throwing the same arguments. And the problem is people still buy into that premise that immigrants are making their lives worse. In fact, they're not.
When you actually make it, I mean, when I was growing up during the noughties, yes, we heard a lot. We had BNP during the noughties talking about this crap, but it didn't stick. It just didn't. It wasn't stuck. Like I was in, I might have been living in Exeter as a kid, Labour stronghold, but like I had plenty of arguments as I grew up with people that I didn't think would be anti-immigrant, but actually were, and it's because the narrative had taken hold. Now, a big problem with we do have, as I said, we on the left do have a narrative, but we come at it from so many different directions. We need to narrow our attack lines, essentially, or defense lines might be a better word, because whilst the right do keep coming out with loads of different bullshit, they are consistent with a lot of their bullshit.
Yeah.
And we keep coming up with different reasons to defend, to oppose their views. Whereas we need to become more consistent with our messaging. And not only that, I think we're missing our version of, and people I know will argue with me about this, because I had Graham arguing with me about this as well from Politics Social. But we need an orator on the left. We need someone who can speak to the people. We need a Bernie Sanders. Fuck Jeremy Corbyn. We need our version of a Bernie.
Jeremy Corbyn is too tainted.
Yeah, but Bernie Sanders, as was proved in the last 3 American elections, right? He can attract people, young people from both the right and the left, because he knows populism. Yeah. And unfortunately, whilst I'm not a fan of populism, it is the order of the day amongst the average voter.
It is, yeah. Wake up and smell the rosemary. It's good to see you there. And Dave McGuinness, great. Good to see you there, David. Look forward to our chat. Is it next week? I'm losing my mind. It is next week. Yes, it is next week, guys. Myself, One Angry Pagan, Dave McGuinness, and Jenny Random Scottish History. The 4 of us will be here next week for the Snowflake Roundtable. And I'm changing the name of the series. I'm not calling it Roundtable after this year, just so people can stop asking me to bring a round table to the table. Just so that. But I've already got some of you guys, excuse me. Some of you guys may know I've already got next month's lineup already ready for on the 16th of January. Myself and Angry Pagan again, and we'll be joined by Graham Price from Power to the People and Lee Korn for that one. So that will be a very interesting one indeed as well. So that's something to look forward to next month, guys, in the new year. Hello, number 3. Good to see you there. I hope you're doing well. But the question is, who would be that person that would fill that void? Well, who do we look at as someone filling? Who could be that voice? Who could be that that common sense voice? That could be. Well, who do you think? Yeah, guys in the chat, give me some names. Who do you think could be like
Carla Denia? If she could pull our party out of the NIMBY arse fucking pit that they've got themselves into, I reckon Carla Denia would make a very good voice for the left. She spoke, like, I noted a lot of people reacted very well to Carla during the election.
Yeah, me being one of them.
Coming away from politics, Carol Vorderman. Carol Vorderman actually made really good voice for leftist quarters, and she's not a politician. So I've just given you two examples. One who's a politician, and not from Labour, I might add, and one who's not a politician but really helped out with the election in promoting the Stop the Tories, Stop Vote.
Yeah, I'm just I don't know if, like, don't get me wrong, Carol is popular because of her celebrity status. I don't see her as someone who would appeal to ordinary. I don't think she would appeal enough to ordinary people. I can't, just because of where she is now. From like, I don't think she would appeal enough to people who are undecided or on the other side, shall we say? Because what we need is a voice that will not just obviously speak for us, but be able to win the who can speak to those who are undecided while also being able to bring people on the other side over, if you know what I mean. I'm not sure if she's someone is going to be able to do that.
On that context, do just consider that Stop the Tories .vote started getting a lot more traffic after she came on board.
Yes, that's true.
And the numbers are so much that the guys who run the site Stop the Tories Top Vote like genuinely think without ego that they did have some effect on the election itself.
But would she be that person that would be like?
She would be. She's at least one.
Here's the thing, right? Would Carol Vorderman be that person that is like consistently on the ground talking to people on a regular basis? Can she be doing that on a consistent basis? Because that's what she would need to do. Like, it's not just what she does on social media; it's what she does on the ground. Like, I don't know if she would do that. Like, don't get me wrong, she did plenty of cat, but would she be doing that on a consistent basis? Some of you guys are saying Zara Sultano.
Maybe we need to expand this a bit instead of just one person. So we take the political ground again, like just for example, Carla Denia taking the political ground, and then on the social media side, like constantly on Twitter and whatnot, you got Carol Vorderman. I mean, if I was to push another YouTuber, I'd have to push Super Tansky. I'm sorry, Super Tansky is just fantastic. And
no, I completely disagree. She would be too controversial. She won't win. She won't win. She won't win. She won't win. She won't win arguments with the undecided and right. She won't. No, she won't win them over. Like, don't get me wrong, like she has good points, but she's not gonna I can't see her doing like what Jeremy Corbyn does. I can't see her on the ground.
No, to be fair,
you need to be able to do that, and respectfully,
to be fair, I wouldn't want to put that much pressure on her actually. But my point stands. Like people who have the passion there, who show that anger, who don't just timidly go, yeah, I don't like this. No, show who you are. This is the reason why I made my channel, One Angry Pagan. I was sick and tired of listening to people complain about the Tories. I could tell they wanted to say more, but because of the money they get from YouTube, they couldn't. So I decided on my channel, you know what, I'm going to let fucking loose.
Yeah, this is exactly what I mean with like, she may be funny, but she has a dark bias. Totally dislike her. Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like I know it's one opinion, but I've seen other opinions, non-Scottish opinions on her, and that's not to disrespect her. That's just because of her. Like, I do think she can be. Oh, Alf's got a good one. Marina Perkins is definitely someone I think.
Yes.
There we go. That's good someone pick. Who I think, you know.
Alf, I agree with Alf earlier, and Alf,
I think Maria Perkins could be that left version. And I think
who's the other one that goes with it? The dark
Gemma Forte.
Yes, Gemma Forte.
I think you know why. Do you know why? I think you know why we can say Marina Perkins could definitely be that voice.
She kicked Mr. Pencil's ass.
Yes, on GB. Yes, on GB News, she was absolutely the way she managed the way she conducted herself on that program was absolutely brilliant, and she has been absolutely solid. Now, obviously, I'm not sure how she would be. Good to see that Alpha and Satu Hoshi and anybody else lurking coming in the chat. I'm not sure who else could like. I know you guys said Zara Santana as well. She could.
Yeah.
It's possible. It's possible. You would have to build her up, and how would you shield her from right wing rhetoric as well? You got to think about that as well. You know, we got to have these questions.
Clive Lewis is also a bit divisive as well, though. Unfortunately, I like Clive.
Yeah.
I love Clive Lewis, but he's also a bit divisive, I suppose. If we've got to add that, then yeah. If we got to take divisiveness into account.
Yeah, Marina Perkins is definitely a strong one. Without a shadow of a doubt.
I have noticed that all of the like more viable picks that we've picked so far have been women.
Yeah, this is one. This is the thing, and I can see the right trying to turn this into a sexist battle of some sort because it's a woman. And I know what you guys are going to think in the chat. There's like that's wrong to think like that, but unfortunately, people will try to point that out or use the fact that she's a woman to try and discriminate her in some way, shape, or form, which is fucking bollocks. But we know that's what people will try to do. I
mean, I won't have any of it on my channel. If like when people come to me and start talking crap about women on my channel, they get
No. What I mean is, we know those on the right would use that anyway. But yeah, what guy could actually be that person? Like at one point, I thought Chris Bright, but then like I saw because at one point he seemed pretty on like he seemed like that kind of person, and then
was that interview he did with?
There was that interview with Kate Burley, was it? I think it was. Yeah, and then that kind of was like, nah, I'm not sure now. Like, then, I think because before that, I thought he was pretty solid.
Apply a purity test. I have to keep saying to this, my fellow leftists, we have to get rid of the purity test. They're not left enough. They're not good enough. It's never going to be good enough.
No,
we need to learn.
Of course, everyone's going to be problematic and makes mistakes. Whoever that person would be.
We also need to give some space to improve. How do we know these people won't improve in the future? Now, Chris Bryant is separate. Like he's too old, right? Someone who I just thought of, and I was trying not to think of Labour MPs, but Darren Jones keeps coming up in my. He is very good at speaking to the public.
He's very good.
He comes across really well, and it still amuses me that he's the very first Darren to ever have a government job. Like I
think if he wasn't in the cabinet position right now, I think he was in the backbenches. But yeah,
he's really good at speaking. Like
he's a very good speaker. He's very good at dealing with criticism thrown at him as well.
Yeah, he doesn't get all bitchy. Yeah.
He keeps very calm. That's something you need to have.
He's very funny when he takes the piss out of reform.
Yeah, he's definitely he keeps his feet on the ground when he's under pressure. That does come across that to me as well.
I mean, I would like.
I think if you were to ask, I wonder to our friends in Scotland, who would you consider to be your left or the opposite of Nigel Farage in Scotland? I would probably say Stephen Flynn, but if you have other names, feel free to throw them out there for those up in Scotland. Just curious, see what you guys say.
It's a shame that Myrie Black is retired from politics.
Oh, he was so good. He was so
good. Myrie Black, she would have been perfect for this, but she's going to take. If I remember right,
yeah, she was really good for her time. Yeah,
she's wanting to take time out for her family, isn't she? If I remember rightly.
Oh, Daily Blase said he'll do it. He's willing to step up to the plate, guys. My demands are 6-pack of roast beef monster munch, 4 packs of Timmery Taylor Eye, and a roast dinner every Sunday. I will not waver on my demands, so don't test me on this. We will have to. Well, you'll have to take the purity test as One Angry Pagans first as well to see how far you get with that as well.
No, but seriously, like one of the reasons that I think we on the left have so many issues is because whilst
that's another problem there, that they don't give Stephen Flynn enough airtime. That is true.
Whilst having our principles is good, we do get a bit absolutist about our principles on the left, and we end up to a point where we can't even join up with our fellows on the left because we have one singular disagreement. We agree with everything else, but just with these 1, 2, or 3 things we disagree on. It's like, can we not fight against the common enemy here?
We are going to fight because it's natural, but even those on the right fight with each other as well. To be fair,
but they somehow managed to show more of a unified front than we ever can, than we have in the last 30, 40 years. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, let us know what you guys think about immigration. We'll switch gears a little bit from that. Definitely some food for thought. We were talking earlier about the French elections and the situation in there. I know this is a topic I've talked to death about, guys, but I do think it's one I wanted to talk to One Angry Pagan about, and maybe I'll add it to topics of discussion maybe in next week's as well. But what are your thoughts on assisting dying, Pagan?
I am for it. I watched my nan on my dad's side. She suffered for years. Now I'm pretty sure she wouldn't have gone for it, but I at least would have liked for her to have had the choice. Because for me, as a pagan, and one of the things that's been doing in my head and about the conversation around this is there's a lot of bullying towards religious people, treating everyone who's religious as either Christian or Muslim or Jewish, right? I'm sorry, but we pagans don't treat death as the enemy. It's just a natural part of the cycle of life. So for me, it should be more about the quality of life, not trying to hold off death. If holding off death means that person has to suffer for the rest of their life, I don't see what the good is in why can't they take this into their own decision? The bill, as from what I've seen as well, the bill is sufficient in its in its checks. From what I can see so far, from what I've seen so far, to me, the checks seem sufficient as well to curb against abuse.
I do think that there are obviously always room for improvement. I do think it's one of the most robust assisting dying bills that has come forward. Is there more room for improvement? Are there things that needs to be looked at? Absolutely, 100%. Should they have been given more time to debate on this? 100%. They were not given enough time. That is something that how many hours? They had 5 hours of debate.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
They were given they were given 5 hours debate, which was not enough at all. They need to have more.
I will say it will come back for more debate.
Yeah, it will come back for more debates. It's going to be it's going to be like there's going to be lots of. I mean, it's going to be like not maybe even the next year, maybe the year after before it comes again. So because there's got to be lots of there's going to be like commission hearings. There's going to be lots of discussion. So it's still years away from ascending into law if it gets that far anyway. Because also, and as they also said as well, there's going to be a massive debate in the Lords about this as well. So even if it gets past Parliament in its next reading, it's still got to go through all of the Lords, which is going to be very convoluted as well. So just for anyone thinking that it's coming anytime soon, it's not. There's loads of time on this. There's plenty of time still to talk about this. So so I'll just point out these requirements to remind people. So these are some of the requirements. They must be registered of England and Wales and be registered with a GP for at least 12 months. They must have the mental capacity to make the choice and be deemed to have expressed a clear, settled, and informed wish, free from coercion or pressure. They must be expected to die within 6 months. They must make 2 separate declarations, witnessed and signed by them or a proxy on their behalf, about their wish to die. 2 independent doctors must be satisfied as the person eligible, and there must be at least 7 days between the doctor's assessments. And a High Court judge must hear from at least one of the doctors that can also question the dying person or anyone else they consider appropriate. There must be a further 14 days after the judge has made a ruling, although this can be shortened to 48 hours in some circumstances. So those are some of the requirements in there.
This is heavily restricted.
Yes,
heavily restricted. But I've heard very few people have said that this is an outrageous bill, but the ones who have are idiots, because this is heavily restricted. And
no, I wouldn't go that far. I was
saying to you just before the stream started that, like, I almost started an argument in Phil from A Different Bias's comment section when he did a video on this, because I turned around and said I support this so long as all the provisos are in place and whatnot. But my main point was that death is not the enemy, and treating it as such leaves people to suffer. And yet it started this argument off of, oh, but what about people who haven't got 6 months left to live? I'm like, look, this is at least a place to start.
Yeah.
This is heavily restricted for a reason, because there are so many people that have reservations about it. Like, we live in a democracy. Some people seem to forget this. It's a flawed democracy, but we actually do live in a democracy. And in a democracy, many people have many different ideas about how things should be done. This isn't China.
Yeah. I mean, the obvious one there is we don't let our pets suffer, which is another one. But the other thing as well is that people who saying, like, elderly people or those who have disabilities say they're concerned about it. I was just like, why are you concerned? You're not dying. So if you're not dying, you don't need to worry about it. Now, this is a good argument point that I've heard from those who are opposed it, and I can understand this argument. So one of the arguments that I've heard is that while it doesn't, in this bill, doesn't legislate for people who have for those who don't have 6 months, that those who have longer than 6 months to live, or whatever time frame they have left in their lives, elderly disabilities, mental health, and all that kind of stuff. We've seen, I think it's Australia, who actually have changed their laws on assisted dying, where, because there was one country, democratic country, where people who aren't on the verge of dying, that can go through this process if they wanted to. Now, obviously, I can't speak about, I don't know if it's Australia or not. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat.
I can't. There's another one.
Yeah, I can't speak on the exact circumstances, but I have heard this argument that basically said, the argument that I'm hearing, one of the more reasonable arguments that I'm hearing against this is that if let's just say hypothetically it all goes through, all these safeguards are in place, yada yada yada, what is to stop them taking it a step further? As in, okay, what about if people who are taking it a step further, they're worried about opening a Pandora's box where assisted dying could become an opportunity for more reasons to die, give people more opportunity to die for other circumstances such as mental health, or they've reached a certain age in their life, or whatnot. This is a very fair argument, and that is
the reason why this bill is so restricted.
Yeah. This bill is restricted, but what people are worried about is what may come after this bill down the road, that it may open up Pandora's box for other reasons for people to take their life. And perhaps some of the safeguards may be lifted for different circumstances, which I think is because that's an argument that I'm hearing, and I think that's a perfectly reasonable and concerned argument to make. But my counter argument to that is, well, we don't know that. We don't know that that's going to happen after this bill. It's about the here and now.
Yeah.
And about those who are suffering and the moral choice of them being able to die. We don't know if, say, for instance, this bill does pass, right? We don't know if 5-10 years' time we decide to expand on assisting dying. We honestly don't know that. All we have is what's here, right here and now for those who are really suffering. So I do think that there is an argument there. So I wouldn't call them. I wouldn't call it idiots. Yeah, on them. There are idiot people with idiot counter arguments, which I've heard. Obviously, some of the MPs saying it's suicide. But there are very good, reasonable arguments for it, and those were the ones that I think are perfectly understandable. Yeah, no one asks. Just want to say, Stephen Banker says no one asks for death. Just use common sense. It's not about can't. It should be about how we can. And Wake Up says, Rosemary says, let's address the here and now. Yeah, this is but what people are concerned about is opening the Pandora's box if they go this far. This is what some of the which is I think is a fair argument, whether you agree or disagree with it.
There's certainly a duality to that argument.
It's not easy because we're talking about giving people the right to die, but we also have to put this in the context of, well, my cat Daisy, she's very, very old, and we don't know when she's gonna go. Like literally, I'll give you no joke of a word of a lie, guys. Literally 2 days ago, she tried to jump up onto the couch and she literally fell off. Because that's how much she struggles now to jump up. And she's very, very skinny, but she's not sick. She's not in pain or suffering. But when it comes to that, you're not going to just let her continue to suffer. We're going to put her out of her misery when that comes. And that's the exact argument that you make. Well, we do it for animals, as someone said. Why don't we do it for humans? So, yeah. And number 3 said he's done a video about death recently as well. So do check out number 3's YouTube channel as well, guys, on that. But I think we'll move on it because I've talked about it to death, and I know my chat has heard so much about it. So I will move away from it, guys, because I know I've talked and covered it so much. It's been a lot, guys. Let's talk about something that may or may not happen. Well, I don't think it's going to happen with the recent bill this week, but it does give us some hope. That is for sure. So, what is your reaction to proportional representation? The bill that passed this week, the first reading of it by the Liberal Democrats. If someone could get me a link to the bill, please send it to me because I was trying to find the bill, the actual bill. I can't find it. I went onto the. I tried it under proportional representation UK bill. If someone can get me a link, please do, because I actually want to read the bill. I want to read exactly what it says on there. So if someone can get me a link, I'd be greatly appreciated. Because I want to read this specific bill. I know it's not going to get through, but I want to know exactly what they've put in it. So if someone can get me that, it'd be greatly appreciated. So I know this is a bill that's not going to pass as much as we want it to. Because what I generally believe will happen is the next time it comes to the floor, Labour will be whipped to oppose it, and those who say no are basically going to get kicked in the I don't know if they'll get kicked out of the party, but they'll face some kind of repercussions, some serious repercussions if they do. The reason why is, and Keir Starmer will make this argument, is simply because we haven't had enough discussion about it. We're not sure if this is the kind of proportional representation election that we want. And it didn't help his answer on Prime Minister's questions about it as well.
He left that vague, to be fair.
Yeah, he was quite vague on that. So that wasn't ideal as well. Evan Humes, good to see you there. And Akismad, good to see you guys. I hope you're all doing well. Doing a jigsaw. Very cool.
It's not up on the debate's not up on Hansard yet.
Right. Okay. So it's not just me then going mad.
No, I'm just having a look at Hansard here, and the last one on Hansard at the moment is 8th of June 4 years ago. So,
right, okay. So, hold on. What's that you got me? Hold up. Yeah, I've seen that number 3, but I want to read the bill. That's as far as I've got. I'm looking for the actual bill. thanks for that, number 3. Appreciate it. But what I'm actually looking for is the actual bill. I want to read what it actually says. I don't know. I'm assuming it's not available to the public then. But thanks for that anyway. I appreciate it. But anyway, what's your thoughts on what you've read and what you've heard about this proportional representation bill, and what are your thoughts on it, Pagan?
Well, I mean, we need electoral reform. That's an actual must. That needs to happen. I have many arguments up with our fellows on the left that they're like, it's never going to happen in Britain. It's never going to happen in Britain. And I'm like, I'm not an absolutist. I'm just not. So I'm never going to say that it either is definitely going to happen or it will never happen. It's always going to be on a scale. And I think it's more likely now than it was for the last 14 years. But there's still going to be a hell of a fight ahead. I mean, to be fair, it took me by surprise. I wasn't expecting this to go through. I mean, Phil wasn't expecting this to go through from a different bias. He wasn't expecting this. This caught him by surprise. And it's quite interesting, the results of it, because I think it was only about half the House voted on the bill. And if I got it right, like it all depends on legislative time as to whether or not this comes back for a second reading and for further debate.
Yeah.
But the fact that it did, and a majority of Labour MPs voted for it, or of the Labour MPs in the chamber voted for it, I should say more accurately. I don't think any Tories voted for it.
No Tories voted for it. They all voted against it.
One reform, I think one or two reform MPs voted against it, and a couple voted for it. So
yeah, which makes no fucking sense.
Lee Anderson is the most useless whip there is.
I've heard this already. Like, I've heard this already with people basically saying, well, if they're for proportional representation, why the fuck were they not there?
It's because Lee Anderson is a useless. He's supposed to be the party whip, and he knows what a party whip is supposed to do. He experienced that as a member of both the Labour and Conservative parties. He is just a moron, and I can't believe anyone voted him in.
Well, the people of Ashfield have.
I really fear for their intelligence levels.
That's a very good question, Jal, with regards to this. Do we not think that PR without reform is dangerous? Yes, I do think it's dangerous. But the problem is that we're not going to get, as of right now, both hand in hand. If hypothetically this was to pass, which it won't, we wouldn't get that. But are we going to get it, let's say hypothetically, because I have to use hypothetically, because I know many people don't believe that the Labour are going to bring forward proportional representation in the next Parliament. We don't know that. I know people have ruled it out. I'm not going to say it's completely ruled out. We don't know that. We have to remember that in the Labour conference back in 2022, the members voted for proportional.
Just 2022. Every year for the last 8 years, conference has voted for PR.
Well, I don't recall the vote for last Labour conference. I can't. But I know in 2022. Yeah. Okay. But either way, like, honestly, like, we don't know what's going to happen in the next Parliament if they win the next general election. The priority for Labour is to fix the economy, raise the foundations, the usual stuff that we've heard over and over again. As far as media reform goes, I've made my position quite clear on this. I'm sure Pagan's made his position quite clear on this numerous times. We definitely need media reform. We literally talked about it earlier about how the media can't stop talking about fucking immigration when immigration is not the be-all and end-all and with all our problems. But yes, we do need some kind of media reform of some sorts. And yeah, it should be tied into proportional representation, but that is not the case. And I don't think Labour could do both at the same time if they had a second term.
I mean, there are already groups within Labour not just pushing for proportional representation, but also pushing for media reform. There are groups within Labour, and not only that, but there was I remember watching Ollie and Helena their little debate, and I agreed with both of them. You can work within the party and you can work outside the party. Like neither is an illegitimate route to fighting for electoral and media reform. I think we should not be going either or, but actually multilateral. We can do this going for both, but we don't have to have just one group of people going for both. We can kind of be tactical about this.
Yeah.
I don't think we should be one track mind on these things. I mean, when I say we need to talk about, I know we're going to get there in a bit, but just for as an example, like me talking about sea level rise and climate change, that's not just a one thing. That's an umbrella topic because that contains, public infrastructure. We're also talking about education, house building.
Yeah,
we're going to have to talk about moving parliament. So, I think instead of just going, do we do this or that? We need to do both.
I just want to point out number 3 in Aximai. Thanks, guys, but that they are. It's just that the text you sent me was the actual 10-minute debate that they had on it. I've read them already, guys, and I do appreciate it. But what I was looking for was the actual bill, which I don't think is out, guys. But thank you anyway for them. I have read them and watched them respectfully. But just coming back to PR, look, I don't know, and I want to believe that Labour will bring proportional representation. It didn't help that it didn't help with his comment about taking the jibe when the Lib Dems saying, well, what we don't like it comes across to me as like we don't need to change our system because you guys got 70 members as in reference to Ed Davies and his party. Like we don't need to change it. You guys did well out of it, and it was just like that's not the point. The point is it's not a fair system. That's the point. The point is it's not a fair system. It's not fair that Labour have 400.
The Labour Party's official position on PR is that the first past the post system is fundamentally unfair.
Yeah.
Like you can go read it on the fucking website.
It is unfair. We know it's unfair, but
what the problem is I think Labour are lacking a spine on this, and I have said this before myself. I mean, I am talking about my own party here. Labour lack a spine on this and are saying this needs to happen from the ground up. Now, there is some legs to that argument. There are some legs to that argument. There does need to be movements from the ground up, from the ground level pushing for this. Yeah. But I do also think they are lacking a spine because there are groups within Labour who are pushing for this as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I remember when you're actually looking at the results of the first reading, and you can see a good chunk of Labour MPs in support of it. Obviously, all the Lib Dems were in support of it, and there were even a few Conservatives in support. Well, not Conservatives, sorry. There were even like I think the Greens and the Independents were in support of it, and then there was the idiotic Reforms who were against it, and yeah.
DUP,
no, why has nobody asked who is it? Was it Robert Lowe? Who is it that voted in Reform against it? Was it Robert? Was it Lowe? Was it? I think it was.
I think it might have been Lowe.
Yeah. So someone needs to put the question. Someone actually needs to ask him next time he's doing the media rounds to say to him, why did you vote against the policy that your party is for? Against the policy that your party is for? Your party is in favour of proportional representation. Why did you vote against it? And if he has a brain, which I don't know if he does, but if he had a brain, my response would be to save myself looking ridiculous this is not the proportional representation that I wanted.
I think it'd be so funny if he comes out, this is supposed to be a broad church party. What, a broad church of 5?
Some of them didn't even turn up. A lot of MPs just didn't turn up for it, But again, it's another private members bill, wasn't it? So
to be fair, a lot of them were in their constituencies.
Yeah. So we will have to wait and see, guys, on proportional representation and see where that goes. Obviously, it will be something that we will continue to talk about because we need to continue to talk about it. Hell, we might even bring it up next week as well. We get the views of Scotland on proportional representation, how they use it in some of their electoral systems. Anyway, so it makes sense. It makes sense. But obviously, not every country has the same proportional representation system. They all have different. And of course, Wales has some, Northern Ireland has some, Scotland, as we just said, has some.
London used to have a proportional representation voting system. Was the London Assembly had it, and then the
Tories changed, and then the Tories changed it. But for some reason, they haven't changed it back, Labour, as of right now, anyway. So yeah, but we'll continue to talk about that. I'm sure. One thing that before we get to the rising sea levels, we will come to that, guys. Pagan, what a bonkers year it has been for elections. We've had so many elections this year across the globe. It's been absolutely insane. And there are, I don't think there are any left on the calendar here. I'm just having a look on the calendar, really, on the wiki, just to see if there's any actually this year. It's been so many elections this year from America, Britain. We had the French. Was there a French snap election? Was this year? We had Russia's election. We had lots of elections in Africa as well. We've had changes in. There's even some lots in South America. Obviously, the big change in Mexico as well. There's a change over there.
Literally just had the Irish election.
Yep, the Irish election, of course, which Chatterat has been, as we've discussed as well. Literally this week, we also was also covering Romania had their election. Iceland had their election. They had a snap election because of low confidence vote, and we've got they're still looking to iron out the crooks, but it looks like it's going to be a new coalition in Iceland there. Azerbaijan has had a change as well. I think Pakistan earlier this year as well, although there's been claims that it's been rigged as well. There's been questions about that. Hence why they're
still kicking off.
Yeah, hence why there's hence why there is well, on top of that, obviously a lot of displeasure. Georgia, how can we not mention Georgia? The situation that's happening there, which is absolutely dreadful.
There's more stuff happening in Georgia now, from what I can gather.
Yeah, the recent story obviously was, of course, they said they're going to suspend any talks with the EU, basically, which basically absolutely caused anger among the public. So it's an attempt to try and draw them away from EU and more into Russia's spear. But they're not directly saying that. They're saying it to protect the sovereignty of Georgia, the Dream Party. That's their position. It's to protect the sovereignty, guys. Yeah.
Utterly ridiculous. I mean, ridiculous, and then like all of it, and then there's South Korea doing absolute lunatic stuff.
Yeah, he's gone. That president is gone. Did you see yesterday the list I brought? The list I brought up of all the things that South Korean presidents have. Like they've either been assassinated, resigned, or all sorts. Like there's never been a South Korean president where they've had bad luck on them. So every single one.
It doesn't help that South Korea is in a real bad pickle in many different ways. I mean, they've got a demographic crisis. They've got a really bad incel problem. You know, the party, the prime minister tried to do a coup which failed epically.
The president.
The president tried to do a coup which failed epically. I mean, people helped the opposition members into the parliament building.
It was just like what are you doing, mate? Like it was very poorly planned. We also had the European Union elections, of course, which was still, slowly
very demoralizing.
Yeah, very demoralizing. But was still in control. Well, the good guys, shall we say, is still in control. Austria had a very interesting year as well. Some rise in the right wing there, which is I can't remember the last time that as well. Belarus doesn't count because they're not not a proper one there. Finnish had their presidential elections at the start of the year as well. We covered Georgia already.
Swedes as well. Swedes.
Let me just
Sweden.
scroll down.
Sweden,
we had Turkey had mayoral elections, regional elections in Spain. Was it Serbia this year or last year? They had a change in government. I think it was last year, probably. Russia had their completely democratic, no issues whatsoever, perfectly reasonable presidential election where nobody really challenged Vladimir Putin because everybody loves and appreciates Vladimir Putin. So he successfully retained his presidency. Portugal, did you guys? It says regional legislative. I didn't see there. Jao will speak for me on that. Moldovan general election. There were questions about that as well, wasn't there? The legitimacy over it, wasn't there?
Like it was so lucky that it went the way of the.
Yes, that's right. There was Russian interference in the referendum on European Union membership. That's right. That's what happened, and it just
lost.
And they still, it just went their way, wasn't it? Just barely went in favor.
But the important thing is, Putin lost.
Yes, but obviously, lots of Moldovans were paid a lot of ruble to go another way.
Support. He doesn't actually have support. It's paid. He doesn't have support in these countries. It's paid. Like, oh, I don't have enough money. Yeah, I'll do this. But he doesn't actually have. Putin doesn't actually have proper support. He'll have some proper support. Don't get me wrong. But those people who go, yeah, I'll do it for the money, they don't actually support him. They're doing it for the fucking money. So, like, if he can't even pay off enough people to win, I think this is a good loss for Putin on that front.
We had an election last November. Yeah, I did. I just double checked. Yeah, you didn't have any this year. Taiwan, obviously, the change there, which pissed off China because they didn't get what they wanted in that one as well.
China can fuck off.
You can say that, not me. Japan, obviously, Japan had a general election as well.
Ishiba.
As well.
I think I have good feelings about Ishiba, sort of. I mean, it's still part of the same party that is like centre right, but I do like how he is willing to be more hawkish against Russia and China instead. And whilst I'm not a fan of war, I do think that not having a standing army ready to defend yourself properly isn't a good idea. I mean, we're making that mistake. The Tories made that mistake here by demolishing our military forces.
Yeah.
Like South Korea is in a much more precarious position. And Japan.
Oh, yeah. Well, obviously their neighbors next door, obviously, as well. That's not
so like Japan, I think, is waking up. I think Ishiba is, whilst I would prefer the situation to be otherwise, because it isn't, I think Ishiba is probably a good choice for the current time.
Indonesia had a massive election as well. I mean, they have a massive population. That was early in the year as well. Yeah, I remember at the start of the year highlighting so many of these the start of the big elections. Venezuela, my God, what that bastard Morado stayed in power.
I hate the fact that he calls himself a leftist.
He's not. He's a scumbag. Many Venezuelans fled the country after it was they knew they weren't going to be able to overtop him in any way, shape, or form or attempt any coup. So more migrants coming to America because of that as well.
I've heard the Trump lot are actually looking to be a bit more friendly with Maduro this time because they think that if they do a deal with Maduro, they can
stop Venezuelans fleeing the country.
They can more easily get rid of the Venezuelan migrants that are already there as well.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. One country nobody talks about, Uruguay. They had their general election as well.
Apparently, that went a good way as well. Apparently,
yeah, I think it was the leftist one, that one. I think I covered it in a short video.
yeah, the guy's got a really ordinary car.
Okay. Just seeing any other just trying to cross my mind, see if there's any other big changes in American. South Africa is kind of like, well, some countries you can take them seriously and some you can't.
To be fair, South Africa.
Sorry, I mean Africa as continent, all
yeah,
the elections and continent. But yeah, South Africa obviously had theirs general election. But go on, what were you saying?
South Africa, I think that's a bit different because they the first time they've actually got a proper coalition. They've had to properly go into a coalition. So I wonder how they're going to deal with it. Because the ANC is slowly losing power in South Africa for the first time in 30 years? 35 years since the end of apartheid. Like the ANC is finally losing its power.
Somalia had their presidential election, but it just states there was no limited or international reconciliation over that. Somalia, and I don't blame them.
Somaliland as well. That one was actually a decent handover of power, but
well, it says there, quote, no limited or no international reconciliation of that one.
I recognize them though.
Rwanda had general election earlier this year. Senegal presidential and parliamentary election as well. Nigeria had gubernatorial and gubernatorial elections.
Gubernatorials.
Ghana had the general election. Apparently, Ghana's general election is in 2 days' time.
Oh. So we do have at least 1 or 2 left.
So we got that one. They got that one, guys. Actually, there is another election before the end of the year as well. Chad's a parliamentary election on the 29th of December. There you go. There as another one to add to the books. Botswana had their general election as well. Algeria had a presidential election a few months ago as well. Madagascar parliamentary elections. I'll see if I can say the country right. Madureina. I can't.
Mauritania.
Thank you. They had their presidential election early in June. Thank you for getting that. I was struggling to say that one. And Mozambique general election there. I'll just see if there's just have one more time. US. Well, we've talked to death about America. We don't need to talk about that, guys, because it's very depressing. Belgium in Europe.
Canada's coming up. We've got the Canada election to come because Trudeau's fucked.
Is that next year?
Beginning of next year, I think.
Must be next year because they've had several general elections. I think that's like British Columbia, New Brunswick, governor general election, and Nova Scotia. So maybe the big one is next year for them there. Just checking there.
Different calendar to you guys. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it from on here. I'm just seeing if there's any other elections not pointed out, and any guys want to point out in the comments just for us to comment on. Local election not matter. San Marino had a general election as well. Don't know how that went for their country, respectfully. Did Australia? Australia had quite a few local, state, territorial elections, but not a big one from the looks.
Yeah, the big one was a couple of years ago, wasn't it? It's Conservatives got kicked out, haven't they?
Yeah. Canada's election is October 20th next year, says Stephen Moore. Thank you for that. Well, won't be as many big elections next year as there would be to this year. But I would say that this year has been the year of some seismic shifts in the world. That is for sure.
The pandemic definitely affected politics the world over.
Yeah, because lots of people.
Apart from Ireland, apparently the pandemic did not affect the electoral picture in Ireland. I don't understand that one.
Yeah, I'm still not getting my head around that, but I'll let Ireland figure it out for themselves on that. Ireland's presidential election in October, November next year, says Chatty Rat. Very interesting. Keep presidential election.
Keep an eye on.
We'll keep an eye on as well there. Thanks for that, guys. Yeah, some very interesting ones we've had this year. So, guys, we're going to be talking a little bit about the rise in sea levels. But first, I just want to share this as something that One Angry Pagan has shared with me. This is from the website. Is it Climate Central? Is that right? Coastal Climate Central here. What I'll do is I'm just going to be a bit cheeky, and I'm just going to it's hidden there. Yeah, just going to put that. If anyone wants to, it's the link is so long I can't even put it in the chat.
Well, I mean, I think if
Okay,
you can...
so I can't put it in the chat, guys. So I apologize. What I have to do is I'll get Pagan to put it on the Discord if anyone wants to check it out. Okay, so explain to us what this is exactly.
Well, these are the projections for so what you got here is showing 3 feet of sea level rise projected over the next 10 to 15 years.
Right.
And if you look towards, I mean, I reckon that Holland the Netherlands will deal with this fairly well because they already have the engineering know-how to deal with it. But if you scroll a bit northwards in England, you will see a large portion of the east of England will have to move westwards. And this isn't a maybe, they will have to move.
So this is a water level, or so this is at the moment water level 3. So we can actually pull this up and down, and it can generate what the outcome could be. So this is of water level of 3 feet above the high tide could be reached through a combination of sea level rise, tides, and storm surges. So this is just, we're looking at England here. If I just pull this back a bit further.
And Devon's very much like Scotland, where we're not so much affected because most of it's above sea level. But because the east of England, the east and the southeast of England used to be attached to the continent by the sunken Doggerland, which is under the waves between east of England and the Netherlands and Belgium. That used to be a whole area. The land bridge there used to be a whole area called Doggerland.
So this is just 3 feet. So even if I did 1 feet, let's just say one feet. Let's just see how that would look.
So
wow,
even
so
then,
even 1
then,
foot.
East of England will have to move. Not only that, but as someone who lives in the southwest, I know for a fact that a lot of the railway runs directly next to the coastline, especially from Exeter towards Teignmouth. It's literally, you've got the railway and then the estuary. That train line will be flooded within the next 10-15 years, and that's not just the southwest. It's like the train lines, all of the infrastructure in the east of England is going to be screwed, and no one's saying anything about this.
We could go as far as 30 here. Let's crank it up to 11. Just 11 and a 1. Let's see just how bad it gets. Then if we go to 11 and 1. So this is if we go this is quite
Weston-super-Mare, Bath, Bristol is starting to get threatened. Cardiff is starting to get threatened.
Yep. So you can see they're quite a hit there.
Blackpool's gone. London. Oh yeah. This will also take out Westminster and Buckingham Palace.
So if we just scroll in momentarily while it just loads up here.
Anywhere
so this would be from the Thames, spewing out from the Thames if it was to go that high there.
Westminster's right next to the Thames. So
yeah,
Westminster's done for. We will have to move the capital. It's not a maybe. Again, like I stress this isn't a maybe anymore. This will happen. I don't like, as I said before, I don't like to be absolutist, but this will happen. And it's not just due to the melting ice. This is also due to the physics effect of warming water expands. So not only do we have the ice melting, adding water to the oceans, but we've also got the warming oceans expand. The water is expanding, also raising the sea levels.
You can see a lot of the south coast there being eyed up, being swallowed up there.
Brighton and Kent.
Brighton and Kent there. Looks like it is. Any bets on Birmingham? Says number 3. No.
Birmingham should be
Birmingham
fine.
is
It should be
Birmingham,
far enough.
Birmingham should be fine, and I have confirmed even at 30 feet that my area would be all right as well. But let's just go. Let's just say we let's put it to 30. Let's put it at the highest level that they have here. So this would be the worst case scenario. So let's first of all let's just scroll back and just see. So this is what it would look like.
That's really reshaping the coast.
If that was to be. Wow, that's pretty huge. I mean, yeah, goodbye to the M. The M5 is gone.
I mean, if you go from Devon further westwards, it's very much the same as Scotland, where we're not really being touched. Same as Wales, actually. Like Devon, Wales, and Scotland.
It's at the high cliffs then, I'm supposing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Devon and Cornwall are very, very, very hilly, where most of it's far enough above sea level rise. Same with Wales, same with Scotland. The reason why the east of England is more vulnerable is, as I said, about the sunken land of Doggerland, which used to connect us to Europe.
Yeah.
Like, because that was connected to Doggerland, it's naturally going to be lower towards the sea level than the west. So people will have to move westwards.
Yeah. Clacton will cease to exist, guys. Clacton will cease to exist.
It's funny considering that just how many people deny this thing that this is going to happen.
There'll be no more Middlesbrough either. Blackpool will be gone. That's Southport.
Major cities.
Warrington, Liverpool under deep threat. Not completely gone, but will be under deep threat there from it as well.
Blackpool's gone.
Just in case for people up Scotland who are worried, this is about some parts of Scotland will be hit by if it went to 30 feet, if it went to 30. But because of the land I wouldn't. It's not.
The geography is like again, like.
But there are some bits, but it's not as effective as England, obviously.
Again, like Devon and Wales, Devon, Cornwall, and Wales, I should say. Scotland is fairly safe. The east of England is screwed. Oh, a fair bit of Ireland is vulnerable.
I just want to check somewhere in Kerry, just out of curiosity. Oh no, my town would go.
Oh,
my town would well, not my town, but
yeah, I mean, bringing it back just down to the more realistic level, like. Just 3 feet, just even 2 feet of sea level rise is going to be devastating. And no one is talking about this. I mean,
so this is below 1 feet.
That's less than a foot. And I really wish people would take this more seriously. They're like, oh, this is like 50 years away. No, it's not. No, it's not. Bangladesh, next to India, that's already going underwater. Graham has just had to spend a load of money on soil to make sure his island doesn't go underwater.
So this applies to the. You could use the whole world with this, just out of curiosity.
Yeah, see where the crux is between Myanmar and India. That's Bangladesh. The coast is already going. That's already started to go, by the way. That's not just future projections. That's happening now.
They're just turning the water level off. So that's with the water level off.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's happening now. And people seem to treat me as if like, oh, no, we don't have to do anything now. We don't have to talk about it. Yes, we do. This is the most important problem of all the problems you want to come up with. This is the most important. The whole country of Bangladesh is almost gone.
If it goes 30 feet. And that obviously is... I'm on the north coast of Dublin. I'm glad, and the only bit blue is far from me. It's the southeast coast. You'll be all right then, Chatty Rat. But yeah,
do remember, even if we're inland, even if we're not directly affected by the sea level rise, what we will be affected by is the effect it will have on the public infrastructure and the fact that we will have even in just our own countries, we're going to have migrants moving towards more habitable areas. This will cause so much upheaval. I mean, Florida's screwed. Not, I've already said, like, a lot of the West Coast, the East Coast of America is screwed. Miami-Dade, which heavily voted for Trump, gone.
Yeah, so it looks like this is 7.6 feet at the moment, but you can see quite a lot of the coast here on America would
New York
would be flooded. New York is not a surprise. I just want to check out the other coast of America just to see what the other coast would be saying there.
It's not as bad because of the Rockies.
Yeah, so it doesn't look like they would be too. Yeah, the other side of America doesn't seem to be too affected there, so they're pretty fine there. Louisiana, New Orleans,
even parts of Texas. Look at Houston.
Yeah, that's really. I'm just going to scroll back a little bit just to have a look. Yeah, you can see quite a bit of the chunk there. So let's just crank it up and see what it would be if it's as high as 30 here.
I will reiterate, it might not look a lot, but just that much will force hundreds of thousands of people to move.
And
there'll
be a lot of refugees like Clacton, says Steve. Yeah.
Again, no one is talking about this, and I get told off for carrying on badgering this point, but I know I'm going to carry on badgering this point.
Well, because Clacton's underwater, Alistair Keir. Clacton will be underwater. Don't worry.
Clacton's gone.
Yeah, but we're just having a look at what could be potentially for America.
Washington DC is going to be going underwater as well as New York. Look at it.
They would have
Washington DC.
They would have spots, but there would have parts of it. They might get away with it. Washington.
Some of it anyway. But
yeah, they would. They might get away with it.
It will encroach.
If again, this is if it's 30 feet, obviously hypothetically there.
But even like I said, but if we bring it back just to the local level, as we showed, less than a foot is going to cause major problems for us, and less than a foot of sea rise that will happen in the next 10 years. And I don't like to speak again, I don't like to be absolutist, but I can almost guarantee that within the next 10 years sea level rise will rise by about that much.
We didn't really look too much about other coasts of Europe there. There's a little bit on the part of Spain, but mind you, a lot of this here has a lot of cliffs on the parts of Europe. To be fair, but we can see that Italy,
Venice gone.
Venice is there. I mean, Venice is not in a very good spot there.
It never was.
No, I know. No change in the Middle East.
Alexandria in Egypt looks to be a threat.
Let's just scroll. See,
both Alexandria and outstretches of Cairo. Is that? Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like that port side, the Suez there. Interesting. If it comes to be, yeah.
I mean, given that Gaza's right on the coast, I think, is it 5 feet, 6 feet, and Gaza's going to be stuck. Oh, is that?
That's Vietnam.
Indonesia and Singapore, Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam.
Coastal risks. Yeah, this is for. Yeah, I'll put a link for this on the Discord if after this, guys. But this doesn't look like too much effect with Australia because they have lots of high cliffs there. So they don't look like they'd be too affected. From the looks of it. But I haven't cranked it up to the top level.
Do you remember that at this level of zoom, what we're not seeing are the many Pacific islands that are also already going underwater, like Bangladesh is.
Yeah. So this is as if it was 30 feet over on the other side of the world for us, guys.
Beijing. That's actually heading towards Beijing.
Tokyo is gone.
Yeah.
Tokyo is gone. North Korea, both Korean countries will have some flooding. China will
Shandong,
be hit. Yeah, China will be hit by some as well there. If we just scroll down,
Taiwan, most of Taiwan should be fine.
so like the Philippines will lose some, but
Yeah.
it's not going to be too bad. There'll still be some land, but I guess it's because of the high cliffs for them. But yeah,
Yeah.
Vietnam.
If you look at the map of the sea here, the darker bits are the deeper bits, the lighter bits. So given how much is very given that like a lot of that area is only towards the west where you start to get really deep. Towards the east, it's all shallow seas, so that's going to make things like that's going to make it a lot easier as it's showing for seas to rise. The coast, like the next 10 to 15 years, we will start to see a lot of maps having to change, and people have been putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. It's going to happen.
New Zealand's not too affected.
Not the no. It's
because of their high mountains again. That helps them.
Aren't they still being pushed upwards on their tectonic plate as well?
I can't comment on that. But is Hawaii gone?
I think some of the islands are under threat, but
Hawaii is not gone if it goes 30 feet, apparently.
I mean, some areas are under threat. Some areas are under threat.
Yeah. But we can
say only one of I think it's only Honolulu is majorly inhabited on those islands. There's only one of the islands is majorly inhabited. I think it's Honolulu.
Yeah, let me
so yeah, we need this. I mean, I think the left needs to that this needs to be part of the left's message. This is coming. This is coming. And not only that, but we should also bring in the subject of immigration into the climate change and sea level rise conversation, because it will force more immigration. It just will. We will have to deal
immigration
with
is going. Yeah. I'll put the link in the Discord chat if anyone wants to have a look at it. But yeah, carry on.
We on the left don't like the chatter about immigration. I'm sorry, guys. It's going to get worse. Like, it's not a maybe. It will get worse. We are going to have to come up with a good narrative on this. Otherwise, we are fucked. Like, truly fucked. But the left really needs to do better at messaging on this.
Yeah, I don't. Carol digging, the Carol Canal digging about to be big again. Yeah, that as well, guys. Yeah, certainly very. Yeah, it's not good. It's not good, guys. I mean, even when there's not much change, there's still big changes coming, and we don't talk enough about it. You know, how often, I mean, even you've brought this up. How often have we talked about, how often have we mentioned climate change, sea level rises and whatnot? And they're not even mentioned in Prime Minister's questions. How often are they debated about?
I'm constantly screaming at my own party. Why are you not doing anything on this? They'll talk about, green energy. Yeah, that's great, but that has nothing to do with the preparing for the effects of climate change and especially sea level rise. It does literally nothing. We need to be talking about seawalls. We need to be talking about possibly moving entire settlements away from the coast. We need to be talking about moving in public infrastructure like roads and railways. And we need to be doing it fucking now.
And their argument will be, well, we don't have the money right now.
It's a case of priorities, and this is more of a priority. But unfortunately, this is actually more of a priority than the waspy women or the blood scandal. They're like that. They are important, but are they more important than this? I'm sorry, they're not.
Yeah, we do have to make a compelling case, yeah, to make a compelling case to it.
Yes,
there does
that's
need to
what I'm
be a
talking about.
compelling case for it.
We need to sharpen our message on this. We need to push. We need to make sure that the public know that if the public are already worried about migration, then they need to pay attention to climate change and sea level rise.
No mention of insulation or energy conversion, says number 3. Yeah, that's something that's really infuriated me. Is nothing about homes not getting enough insulation. You know, we talk about wanting to reduce people's energy bills. Why are we not insulating more homes? It just
the
makes
last Labour
makes
had
sense.
time to do that. The last Labour government had actually put a plan in place to start insulating homes properly, and then the Tories came in with the Lib Dems, and the plan was shelved and then completely binned. So
yeah. Guys, we're going to wrap up in a couple of minutes. So if you guys want to ask us any questions, you're more than welcome to do so on some of the things we talked about today. What are your thoughts? While I'll just see if anybody wants had any other questions to ask. What are your thoughts on GB News? They're getting bigger rating surge than Sky and other broadcasters. Does that bother you at all? Like, I'm seeing this pop up. Is this something we should be concerned about? I think a part of us should be, because people still go out there.
Is it confected? Are they genuine views? Is my point.
Well, to say what, I think we're implying that they're all bots that are watching.
I mean, look at this referendum that people are pushing. A good portion of the votes on that are shown are more than likely fucking bots. So I don't.
Well, unless there's evidence that says that they are bots. Well, I haven't heard anything that can.
I don't trust anything that comes from the right wing at all. I can't put any faith in that their figures are trustworthy to begin with. That's my problem.
Well, this is live viewing data figure shows. This is a piece from The Guardian, has GB News outrivals Sky in the latest live viewing figures data shows. Yeah. Right-wing broadcaster rating surging months, featuring farmers protesting in London and Trump's re-election in the US.
Yeah.
So,
see, I do wonder, because nearly everyone I talk to can't fucking not just talk to, but like people who live around me. Like, I might not talk to these people, but the people who live around me, they don't fucking watch it either. So it's like,
some people might. I don't know. Well, obviously, I'm assuming these. It's not so much on the TV. Maybe it's on the computers. I suppose.
I think it's YouTube. I think it's happening.
Yeah, I think it's like YouTube online and whatnot. I don't know if that's counting towards it, because obviously they have a live feed. Sky News has a live feed. BBC has a live feeds and whatnot. So I think that's maybe where it is anyway. Are more watching GBs or less watching Sky? I think the majority of GB online viewers are English. Yeah, the majority of people who watch GB News are English. However, I would air a degree of caution, obviously, on that, because when you had the last general election, you had reform votes in Wales and Scotland. Yes, they were low. That is still very concerning, to say the least.
Yes, but if they split the vote on the right, this is a good thing, isn't it? Because the right
is
for
a
you
good thing.
Advantage of the split.
But just imagine the possibility that the Conservatives, who are already kicked out of Wales, imagine them getting kicked out of Scotland. I'm sure the Scots would be happy about that. And then all those voters went to Reform instead. It's hypotheticals, of course,
but if you think of the bigger picture, all that does is increase the split on the right wing. Yes, it's a double-edged sword, but we can't just forget about the advantage of this, because again, the right wing have consistently over the years taken advantage of the left arguing with itself and splitting the vote on the left. Yeah.
What's the proportion of free view, sat nav, and online feeds? That's the question.
That's a damn good question.
That's a very good question, Chatty Rat. I don't know if I'm sure there may be someone out there that maybe break down those crunch numbers, but it certainly is a question definitely worth considering. That is for sure, guys. That is for sure. Guys, we've hit just over 9:30 here in the UK. I want to say, guys, we've been going for about an hour and a half, just talking about all these things. Obviously, there's a lot to come, a lot more to discuss. I'm sure me and One Angry Pagan will have another discussion again, probably at some point next month as well. But we'll be back not just myself and One Angry Pagan, but One Random Scottish History and Dave McGuinness for a Snowflakes roundtable. Sorry, my stomach is playing up. In case you're wondering why I look like I'm about to explode. I promise I'm okay, guys. I'm all right. I'll be all right once I get out of it. No, when I drink a lot of water, I just get sort of thing there. So I do apologize, guys. Just to let you guys know before we head out as well, I have been working to get thumbnails and whatnot. I'm going to try and get new music for all the live streams as well for you guys. So we're going to have new music, intros and outros, as well as some new thumbnails and updates, and as well for the new year. I have already cleared about 100 videos off my YouTube channel, which have had 10 viewers or less. I'm going to try and clear a lot more because, yeah, I've got like more than 1,000. I think I've got like 3,000 videos, and I kind of want to clear a good chunk of that. So it's going to take me a while to do because I want to clear a lot of dead weight videos on the channel. So I'm going to be doing a lot of cleaning up on the channel. It is one of my things to do this year. So I've got that. What else is there? So obviously we got that reminder as well. Wednesday, the 18th of December, the Snowflake Show Christmas special with myself and Lee Corm. Please join us for that. That will be the last big show, obviously, before Christmas. I will have a Snowflake viewpoint in the run-up to Christmas on the 23rd of December. After that, there will be no live stream on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, Boxing Day, or the Friday. There will not be any live streams at all after that for that whole week, pretty much. So it'll probably be I may have a live stream on the 30th. Yeah, I probably would have. I'll probably have a live stream for you guys on the 30th at least. And then what I'll probably do is I'll probably host something on New Year's Eve. If I haven't got any plans, I'll probably host something on New Year's Eve on the Discord community for you.
Birthday.
So yeah. So I'll just run down the plan, guys, because I'll let again, so business as usual all the way up till the 23rd of December here on this channel, and then Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. I am planning to do a premiere video for you guys on Christmas Day. What that content will be, I don't know, because I need to figure out something because I want to get something for you guys on the day. And then no live streams at all for the rest of that week, pretty much. So you will have a live stream on Monday from me, but the rest of the week will be dead because not because I don't want to do content for you guys. I'm not here. I'm going to be spending time I'm going to be at my parents for Christmas, so I'm not even going to be home. So that's another reason why I won't get in much videos, content. I will have produced some content for the week, but not a lot. And then on the 30th of December, I'll be back with a live stream. I may do a Snowflake Corner live stream, maybe an afternoon one on New Year's Eve, maybe, no guarantees. But once the New Year's passed and whatnot, pretty much the week after that, I'll be pretty clear about the plans and schedule there, guys, for you. So
I've just seen a bit, and it was just quickly popped onto. I was going to post the link onto Discord, and I saw you did, but I was just having a look at the Politics Social Discord, and just saw news. Hope everyone in California and Oregon is doing okay. So there was a 7.0 earthquake in California with the tsunami warning.
Jesus, that's very scary.
Just heard about that, so I'm going to check on that after the stream.
I'll have a look at that too, guys. Before we head out, massive thank you guys for all coming along. Thank you guys for all your comments and giving your time for us. I really, really appreciate it. Do join us next week for another Snowflake Roundtable. It will not be called that next year. But yeah, I'm very excited to have Dave McGuinness and Random Scottish History on. It's going to be a very interesting one, to say the least. Obviously, we're talking about some of the topics we talked about today, but also talking about Scotland, what the future holds for them, and they get their insights as well. So that will be really nice. And it'll be, and of course, it's always a pleasure to have Jenny on, and it's always a pleasure to chat to Dave McGuinness as well. Absolutely, both wonderful people. So join us next week for that. No live streams tomorrow either. There will be Regan's News Round and World News Round over the weekend, but there'll be no live streams, no premieres tomorrow, guys. So although I still will be working, I just won't be doing any live feeds, guys. So yes. So thank you guys all so much for watching. Take care as always, and should I do my usual outro? No, I won't do my usual outro. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And do subscribe to One Angry Pagan's YouTube channel. Someone could put a link to his channel down below. Be greatly appreciated. Do check out his content there. He is the savior of the Badgers. He looks after Badgers and obviously stands and speaks out for what's happening with not just the climate and the environment, but obviously the rise in sea levels, as we've just talked about as well. So do check out his content, guys. Give it a subscribe, and it is the name One Angry Pagan. So sometimes you will get an angry side of him, hence the name, guys.
Ooh, yeah.
Yes. So thanks for giving me your time, One Angry Pagan, and thank you guys as always. And I hope to catch you all very, very soon.